Hi, my name is Joel Salinas, and this is my reflection of how I would respond to parents in in building community and building communication. Well, after reviewing the video, I reflected on the 3 minute video, and it came to the conclusion that it seems that these teachers that were constantly in communication with parents prior to having students in class have built a positive rapport with the parents, which only helps the students, the parents, and the teachers become very well acquainted and familiar with who they are working with. Uh, in reflection with my ways, I think I would do similar ways with communicating with parents. The video did not mention building or sending out a excuse me, a newsletter, and a newsletter is something that I would incorporate in my communication in the future with parents, because it lays down the foundation, the basics of how you run your classroom, your expectations, who you are, and I like that you're able to right away give this information in a form of a weekly or monthly a newsletter. Uh, so a newsletter would be something that I would an approach that I would take to build that communication with parents. Secondly, I would build I would send a biweekly report card. It kind of it kind of is a shock at times, having sent the semester report card, and you see that little Johnny has failed math or science, and as a parent, you don't know, you've never gotten any communication that your son or daughter was failing, and when you would ask your daughter or your son how they're doing in class, their typical answer is fine, and I don't have any homework. So I think that sending a biweekly email with a report card is another form of building communication with the parent and keeping everyone in the loop, keeping the students accountable for their grades, keeping the parents accountable for their actions or the actions of the students. And if there's any misunderstanding or discrepancy, there's something that we can, as a parent, you can reach out to the teacher and resolve that before the semester ends or before the final grades come out. Um, Thirdly, what I would do is phone calls. I think that a lot of times as teachers, we jump into the habit of calling home for a negative consequence and a negative news. And so as a parent, you hear that so and so Miss Johnson is calling from my son's math class, I can already assume as a parent that he's in trouble, right? So I think that when a teacher calls home, I think we have to change the narrative and start to paint the picture of, if my teacher calls home, that's good news. My son or daughter is doing well in in the in the subject that the teacher is calling from. So hopefully, hoping that in the future it establishes a positive reaction when a teacher calls instead of a negative one. And then secondly, in addition to the phone call, obviously, if we are in late at night and we obviously can't call the parent, an email responding to a parent's email in a timely manner in under 24 hours, just like the video said, is pretty is a pretty responsible form of communication. So yeah, just to summarize, my 3 ways of communication would be creating a newsletter once at the beginning of the semester. I would do it once a month, not to bombard them with emails and newsletters. I would do it once a month, and then hopefully touching on the basis of the month and what we're going to cover, what was covered and what is going to cover. And then my second point of communication would be my biweekly emails with report cards, and thirdly, using parent phone calls in a form of positive news to tell the parent rather than always using the negatives. And as well responding to emails in under 24 hours. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for listening to my reflection on this video and how to communicate with parents. Thank you so much.